The New Galactic Era. Space Voyages. Science fiction novel by Maria Obydenna. Chapter 7. The Silver Coin. Intergalactic history tells that ancient people who lived before the robot age wore clothes and carried pockets and wallets for both metal and paper money. For the age of biocrits, all this seems strange. In the new era, all clothing is made from biologically active materials that fit tightly to the human body and react to the slightest temperature changes. People never freeze or suffer from heat. The age of biocrits is a world where there is no paper or metal money, no coins, and silver is used very rarely, only for building the hulls of intergalactic starships. Both words, silver and coin, are unclear to many people, but the name of the galaxy, silver coin, invented by ancient astronomers, has survived and has not been changed by the scientific minds of the new era. From the solar system, the silver coin galaxy looks bright and resembles a silver coin, used for calculations until the robot age, a historical era that people of the New World rarely mention. Humans of the new era have never seen money, but they know that coins have two sides, heads and tails, or, in other words, the front side, obverse, and the back, reverse. One depicted the denomination of the coin, and the other the name of the person or state that minted the coin. One feature of the age of biocrits is the two-level heads-tails system, in which there are two possible quantum states, and until the moment of measurement, the system is in a superposition, simultaneously in two states. In other words, any particle is as a rule in several states or at several points in space at the same time. Spin a coin on the table like a top. While the coin is spinning, it is impossible to tell whether it is heads or tails. But as soon as you decide to measure the value and flatten the coin with your hand, that's when you get the specific state of the coin, heads or tails. Now imagine that the coin decides which value to show you, heads or tails. Scientists of the solar system suggest that the universe behaves similarly, and that the two-level system is the basis of a new mega-universe. The galaxy to which Roland was to fly with the scientific team was known as the Silver Coin, and was located in the Sculptor constellation. On its nameless planets, identified by numbers only, the most valuable metal, terium, has been mined for 5 earthly centuries. No analogs of this metal exist either in the solar system or in the nearest galaxies. The discovery of huge reserves of terium in this area allowed humans to make a technical breakthrough and significantly improve the space fleet. Terium is a shiny silver-white metal that is highly reflective, hard, and durable. The metal is used for the hull and main parts of high-speed starships. Terium provides super-high strength to the hull of starships at high temperatures and movement in hyperspace through intergalactic tunnels. Ultra-light but very strong, the hull of starships and the main parts are made only from this rare metal. But the reserves of terium on the planets began to run out. The command of the Mobile Industrial Facility reported that its ore reserves were exhausted. The space platform and production facility orbiting one of the planets are outdated and cannot be modernized. The main task of Roland's mission was to check the state of affairs and make the final decision on the cessation of ore mining in this area of the universe. Roland also had to decide on the final closure of the mobile ore production and bring some of the unique metal processing mechanisms suitable for operation back to the solar system. In the age of biocrits, the extraction of metals on other planets is a branch of technology that has undergone significant technological changes. The composition of starship hulls and methods of smelting ore have changed. These innovations have had a significant impact on the development of the new era space fleet. The use of biocrits has greatly expanded people's capabilities. Biocrits can perform tasks repeatedly and tirelessly, with high accuracy and efficiency, resulting in very few errors. The main change in manufacturing technology is the replacement of humans with biocrits. Instead of humans engaged in metal production, this industry is now exclusively operated by biocrits, specializing in the most complex operations of ore extraction and supervising technical equipment.
Roland entered the cockpit and greeted the team. "Love, everything good?" Roland asked, nodding. "We're headed for a hot Neptune in the Silver Coin," Love replied. Roland leaned forward. "OZ, tell me about the Silver Coin." "OZ, as usual, answered in a voice with a metallic tinge. The peculiarity of the silver coin galaxy is a black hole at the center of a cluster of supernovae. You will be on the edge of a black hole. The peculiarity of this place is the slowing down of time. This place is marked by a strange temporal hush. Roland, be careful, interrupted OZ, General Gart, who had visited this galaxy more than once. I got into a time vortex on the border with a black hole. Its outer shell is the point of no return, also known as the event horizon. This is the region of spacetime inside which the gravity of the black hole no longer allows any information and waves to escape, but outside, the rays still have a chance to escape the black hole's gravity. Appreciated, Gart, Roland said. The Space Wolf's instincts beat supernova logic. OZ continued. No one being outside the event horizon will be able to receive the signals sent after crossing it. They become prisoners of the black hole. In essence, a black hole becomes a trap due to the distortion of time. If a starship hovers over a black hole, restraining its fall with the help of rocket engines, then the lower it descends, the slower time will flow for the starship crew. Crossing the event horizon means stepping into a realm where time no longer flows, and according to the law of time distortion, the crew will feel an infinitely strong gravitational pull. What happens inside, beyond the event horizon? Time there is distorted so much that one might say it acquires the properties of a spatial dimension. It flows downward, heading towards a singularity. At the event horizon, time freezes, trapping moments in an endless now. This downward flow of time is why it is impossible to escape a black hole. Everything in the world inevitably tends towards the future, and since the future in a black hole descends downward, away from the event horizon, nothing can break through the horizon upwards. With time warping, the size of objects is different when viewed from different time frames. My time will differ from yours. If I'm moving towards you, my space will too. My time is a combination of my time and space. Your space is a combination of your space and time. Roland smiled back and asked, theoretically, if I understand correctly, an interplanetary ship can return from an expedition unless it reaches the event horizon, the surface of a black hole. So you can fall into a black hole, but you can't return from there. Its gravity is so strong that even light can't escape.
Gart nodded. Exactly right. Time dilation, Elisa joined the conversation, is a phenomenon that is not fully understood. All we know for sure is that the stronger the gravitational pull, the slower time passes. Compared to a clock in space, time on the surface of our star, the Sun, slows down by 6 billionths. And near the surface of a black hole, where gravity is enormous, time freezes. The time dilation effect is an enemy that forces people to act with extraordinary speed. Roland nodded. Thanks, everyone. 2 Earth weeks have passed, and the starship has approached the Silver Coin Galaxy. The spacecraft and a team of scientists have emerged from an intergalactic tunnel near its destination. A hot Neptune is an exoplanet with a mass that is several times more than the mass of Earth, Uranus, or Neptune. Unlike other giant planets, a hot Neptune is closer to its stars than Mercury is to the Sun. The planet orbits its star 1,000 times closer than Neptune orbits the Sun. On its surface, there may be hot ice, water that remains solid despite the heat because it is compressed under the influence of the planet's gravity. A hot Neptune is a planet of volcanoes and titanic geysers, which resemble an orange wonder during an eruption. Turning on the surface monitoring systems, Roland saw fiery layers of molten titanium floating on the orange-red sea. On the surface, amazing flowers of red-hot silicon grow surrounded by white streams of ionized gas. Trees and bushes resemble red-hot transparent glass. Amazing view. You can stare at the orange sea of red-hot metal for hours, a sea that beckons and fascinates. Near the coast, on the colder side of the planet, the hot sea has become covered with a crust. Roland saw how the sea reacted to the decrease in temperature with a storm and high waves of metals heated to the boiling point. Unlike deep ores, whose deposits are usually huge, numbering millions of tons, terium ore deposits are scattered throughout the planet, representing, in essence, ore placers. The spacecraft had been orbiting a hot Neptune for a day. Having collected all the necessary data on the planet's surface, Lukov contacted the command of the terium processing facility. The command reported that it had already begun preserving the equipment and stopping all processes. The final decision was up to the expedition. The production of terium is a system that combines network processes and physical processes, embedded with cutting-edge technologies that control real-time processes on the planet. The combination of sciences was crucial for this production technology. The system monitors the process, identifies areas that need change, and the physical system reacts instantly. At the design stage, it was determined that the main source of raw materials would be ore. A plant in orbit around the planet would process the terium from a liquid state to a solid and send it to the solar system. The fully mechanized processing chain includes receiving the terium from the planet, sorting, processing, and preparing it for further processing. At each stage in the terium preparation shop, the chemical composition and other important parameters of the unique ore are controlled. Despite significant technological advances, a way of doing something can become outdated due to centuries of use, inefficiency, and a billion other reasons. In orbit, thanks to innovative manufacturing technologies, machines and systems can learn and adapt to situations, increasing productivity through automation and self-optimization. But even the newest once technologies can forever become out of date.
For 2 Earth centuries, the terium was sent to the solar system in large cargo starships. The new starships were equipped with the latest technology, so the path to the solar system through the intergalactic tunnel was quite short. Just as a sculptor models works of art, so engineers of the age of biocrits model supernova starships for intergalactic expeditions and supernova technical equipment for metal production in the most difficult conditions. "We're running out of time," whispered Love, tired from the journey. "Yes," Roland agreed. "We need to hurry before time and space are warping in the planet's orbit." The spacecraft team saw a biocrit landing party in protective suits working on the planet and continuing to extract the most valuable ore in the universe. Biocrits mined the ore in an open-pit manner, which is usually used to extract ore on Earth in secondary placer deposits, where the ore accumulated as a result of the destruction of the primary rock. Biocrits first remove a layer of soil to get to the ore placers. Then, using special equipment, they directly extract the rock with the ore. For processing, a chain of complex thermochemical purification reactions is used, during which terium is released, along with some gold and silver, which are usually present in ores. On the starship's monitors, Roland saw biocrits in charge, scooping molten metal with ladles. And it wasn't easy. It was the wind. An incredibly fast, dangerous wind carried the excess heat from the day side of the planet to the night side at breakneck speed. Compared to it, even the most terrifying hurricane on Earth seemed like a light sea breeze. Despite the extremely difficult weather conditions, the team of biocrits worked tirelessly. The terium has a purity of over 99.95% and is transported to the solar system as a fine powder. The time from ore extraction to the production of pure metal was usually 6 Earth weeks. It was a difficult task. The scientists could not deploy a stationary platform on the planet.
On hot Neptunes, a strong distortion of time and space exists, and there is no point in having stationary facilities for mining metals. They're very expensive and offer no benefit. Purple clouds appeared in the sky. It rained fire. But this rain differed greatly from Earth's rain. It resembled a fog descending to the surface and enveloping the rose quartz gardens in a purple haze. It became very dark and even eerie from the hot fog. During such rains and fogs, I often think of Earth, with its blue sky and abundant warm rains and showers. The sky with clouds and the red sunset of the star sun, which only happens on the planet Earth, said Love in a quiet voice. Something's wrong with me. Laporte suddenly appeared in the pilot's room. We can't determine and be sure of the monitoring and the time-space around us. Yes, that's right. The world is changing very quickly, and the space-time around the starship is unstable. Everything around us is changing rapidly, Roland replied, sitting in the pilot's seat.
The only good news, we have successfully finished this stage and our mission ended. We now return to the military on Jupiter, Love told the team. The information provided by the production facility indicated that further production of terium on the planet was impossible. Roland decided to stop and dismantle the production platform in this area. For Roland and the expedition, this was a difficult decision. The processing platform would be disassembled into separate elements. Also, a decision was made to transport part of the mechanisms and install a new smelting platform plant for processing terium on a new planet in another distant galaxy. Despite the processing complex's outdated design, Roland asked the military command to dismantle the structures carefully to avoid damaging the complex's main parts. According to preliminary estimates, the dismantling would take about 1 Earth year. News has arrived. A new planet has been found, a hot Neptune, similar to this one, on which it is possible to rain sapphires and rubies. And this planet also has quite large reserves of terium. Today, variable cloudiness is expected there, with short-term precipitation. This is what the weather forecast on an exoplanet located 10 light-years from Earth could sound like, joked Love. Planets sometimes surprise us. It is better not to spend a vacation on such a planet. There you can find temperatures from 2700 degrees Celsius to minus 200 degrees Celsius, a light breeze as well as precipitation in the form of glass rain and much more. Preliminary analysis shows that they consist of corundum, the same mineral from which sapphires and rubies are formed in our home planet. So purely theoretically, it could be that in this lovely town it rains in the form of precious stones. It sounds poetic, but if anyone is going to sunbathe there, take a titanium umbrella. Roland loved to joke and remember his years of study on Neptune. He loves the history of Earth and the evolution of humans. And as usual, Roland could not help but tell the story of the silver coins used by people in the robot age. It's hard to imagine now, but our ancestors paid for goods and services with small silver discs. Silver, a few thousand years ago, had incredible value and was relatively affordable for Earthlings. Roland began his story, continuing to observe the fiery layers that rose in large numbers from the surface of the planet. However, have you ever wondered how it all began? He asked Laporte and Love. Please provide me with information about the coins of the planet Earth. Oz slowly began the story. The word coin has very deep roots. For thousands of years, silver coins were the standard of payment. But as the value of silver continued to rise, so did the amount of money that the leaders of the states entities of the planet Earth paid to purchase the silver needed to mint them. Over time, people began adding more and more copper to silver coins to save on the cost of pure silver. At first, this was done to ensure coin strength, But as the value of copper decreased and that of silver increased, a trend led to the complete cessation of silver in coins. Money has been part of history for 3,000 years. Before money, barter was used, the direct trade of goods and services. The invention of money simplified trade. Since it became inconvenient to carry large quantities of metal coins from place to place, our ancestors began to use money made of animal skins. These pieces of white deerskin with colorful frames can be considered the first banknotes. Later, the authorities of Earth offered merchants the opportunity to exchange their metal coins for paper notes. These paper notes became known as flying money because they tended to be carried by the wind. After a few decades, paper money had become popular, and people invented wallets to store them.
"Full speed ahead," Louv suddenly commanded, interrupting Roland. Roland looked at the starship's monitors and saw that Louv had activated the ion accelerator. The starship left the planet's orbit and began to rapidly gain speed. "What happened?" asked Laporte, agitated. "A severe firestorm has started on the planet. We must leave the planet's orbit as quickly as possible." Roland doubted Louv's words. He knew that the size and speed of these types of storms depended on the wind. The strong boundaries of the hot soil could generate large columns of fire. However, this was quite rare. Fortunately, the storm itself usually lasted only a few minutes to an hour, but it could still be dangerous. "Roland," Louv said, "look at the calculations. Our team has checked everything thoroughly. Pillars of fire are raging on the planet, and their speed is increasing." Roland moved to the remote monitoring system. He was rarely in this room. All calculations were sent to him via the control panel, but this time the situation required his presence. "The planet is in the grip of firestorms," one of the engineers confirmed. "The situation will get worse. We don't know the area very well and can only make rough predictions." "What is your forecast?" "Pillars of fire have appeared on the planet, and it is becoming increasingly difficult for biocrits to extract metal. The command of the production platform is not even sure that it will be able to lift them from the surface. The pillars of fire have already destroyed the technical facility. Some biocrits have died. Even super-strong protective suits could not save them." "Can these pillars of red-hot metal cause extraordinary destruction?" Roland asked again. "We have simulated the planet's atmosphere," the researcher replied, "but there are still many problems and many things that we cannot predict. Detailed data on the structure of the atmosphere, its temperature, pressure, and wind below the cloud base were missing from our database. We also had very little information about what was happening in the places where the fire pillars were forming. Both modeling and observations have shown that the hottest side has the highest wind speeds. The way air interacts with the surface plays a major role in the initiation and propagation of fire events, but radar tends to miss the most important moments due to the extremely high surface temperatures," the flight engineer said. "Although fire winds can be very destructive and potentially deadly, timely measures can save the lives of biocrits and reduce damage to the production platform," explained one of the scientists. "Critical heat has been recorded. The temperature is rising very rapidly. The biocrits' protective suits will begin to melt in 2 Earth hours." "Roland, can we do something to save the biocrits?" "No. Unfortunately, they will remain on the planet forever." Silence. The spacecraft was approaching the speed of light and began to move away from this terrible, fiery, red-hot world to the boiling point of metals. Time and space were strongly distorted under the influence of the nearest black hole. Moreover, the black hole was surrounded by a dense cloud of cosmic dust and gas. The team saw on the monitors a black circle, a region inside the event horizon from which light can no longer escape. All known laws of physics ceased to apply there. As the spacecraft moved through space, the team watched the clocks. They saw that the closer the ship approached the black hole, and it could not avoid it because the path to the nearest intergalactic tunnel was close to this cosmic monster, the more the clocks lagged behind, and time slowed down. In fact, the crew of the space shuttle would never have seen or recorded the ship's physical state when it fell into a black hole. The only thing a human can see is that everything turns red, since the powerful gravity of the black hole shifts light to the red region of the spectrum. A straight line, which in physics is defined as the path along which light travels in a vacuum, becomes curved near a black hole. Here it seems that you have to run as fast as you can to stay in place, and to get to another place, you need to run twice as fast. "Are you alive?" came a voice over the intercom. It was General Gart. Yes, we're fine. All team members are alive. We left the biocrit landing party on hot Neptune. It was impossible to lift them from the surface to the processing platform and take them to the military facility. That's all, Roland said quietly, leaning back in his chair. They're already expecting us. Some of the equipment will be transported to a new location. Metal mining will proceed. Rare metal will be delivered to Earth, and our engineers will continue working on new marvels of technology, intergalactic starships of a new generation, at the Jupiter military facility. We didn't fall into a black hole this time. Everything went smoothly. In the mega world, everything is not predetermined. We were really lucky. We did not feel the gravitational distortion of time. We did not fall into a time hole or end up in two states at once, heads and tails. The military took into account all the options of the development of events, every little thing, and anticipated all possible risks. Please convey our team's thanks to the military facility, Gart, Louv asked. Yes, I will pass it on. Thanks, guys. I'll wait for you as soon as possible. Approaching the solar system, the spacecraft's crew saw dawn, bright and clear, when the first ray of the rising star in the east was not yet visible, but people already felt it in that special shade the eastern part of the night sky acquires. The velvet void of space is gently mottled by the shimmer of distant stars.